All right, all right. Woo. Let's get this thing going. A little quarterback school live. We'll do it live. Do it right. Make sure I sound all right in here. Hit me with your favorite emoji. Something good in the chat to get this thing going. We got 41 of our closest friends here to get us going hot. Again, the off-season lives, slightly more consistent. We're going to do it slightly more consistently. That's about the best I can promise. But I'm excited to get in here, see what we want to talk about, see where our mind is at. We're talking a little probably NFL draft. We're talking about who we like better. And eventually, I'm going to give a quick little, what would be the right word? Nugget, potentially, to what do people call it? It's not really a mock draft. It's like my quarterback prospect list and when and where it will be available. So excited about that. My man, Dan Case, thanks for coming in. Mason, Joe, Ryan, love it. Appreciate you all. Okay, all good stuff. Fired up for this thing. So where should we start? Let's start. What have we been doing? Where we been at the channel? Last couple of weeks, we've been going back and forth, basically revisiting the top, we'll call it tiers of this NFL draft and the quarterback position, whatever that looks like for you. I think for most people, it is Stroud and Young kind of in that top tier. Maybe some super diehards are throwing, Richardson in there. I think some people probably have Levis in that top tier. So we'll say kind of those four-ish. From there, trying to slowly dive into what looks like that next tier or tiers. The dude from Stanford, why can't I think of his name? Tanner. I think there are other handful of guys that I'm excited to take a peek at, go back, revisit DTR, visit Cameron or Cam Ward from Washington State. That's going to be tomorrow's video, most likely. I'm trying to think what else we got. It's a lot. My guy Michael checking in. So I'm excited. After this video, most likely after this video, I will put my kind of initial, let's put some brackets around this. Usually I like to wait until much closer to the draft to put out a list, because what we do on this channel, or what I do, is try to watch as much film and let the film kind of determine kind of in real time, so you guys can see what I'm thinking, kind of the output of what these lists are. It's not just like me kind of like vomiting out a list and you don't have any evidence about why I feel the way that I do. But because some of these guys have been on the channel for a long time and have, done many, many videos of them, I think you can start to see kind of the evidence of what that list will look like. So after this video, most likely today, potentially tomorrow, I will share my initial list for the Patreon community. So if you want to see what that thing looks like, hop over there. My guy Ryan coming in hot with the super chat, super sticker. Who knows what the hell it's called, but I appreciate the support. All good. My guy Daniel checking in. It's fun to see the familiar faces in here. There you go. Tanner McGee. So that's what it's going to look like. If you're interested in what the list is right now, it will be available at the Quarterback School Patreon community soonish. We'll say soonish. It's not going to be an extensive list, and it will be in pencil because things can change. But for the vast majority, especially at the top, I don't know how it would change. But I'm sure I'm leaving it open to the fact that it could change potentially. So if you're interested in that, hop over Patreon community. This way. You know where it is. Become a member, support the channel. I sincerely appreciate the support. All right, now let's open this thing up. Where are we at? Questions, comments, now is the time. If you haven't already, appreciate you guys coming in, hitting the like button to this live. Make sure I continue to do this thing as often and as consistently as possible. So let's see what we got. James Shanahan. Thanks for the great stuff. I know it's quarterback school, but what do you think is the most overlooked coaching point for wide receivers at the high school level? Oh, man. I love the fact that you acknowledge the fact that I normally don't talk about stuff that isn't centrally related to the quarterback school. But most overlooked point for the high school level. I don't know if I've ever thought about it. I guess for me it would be anything beyond just the ability to catch the ball. So I think that's kind of the easy focus. And obviously, if you can't catch the ball, you're not going to be a very good receiver. But the things that I looked for were stance, were effort, were the amount of time it takes you to get lined up, especially if you're in a tempo system. How quickly you can get lined up. Do you get lined up correctly? Are you at a perfect, landmark for what the concept or system is asking you to do? Obviously, your speed, your acceleration, your releases, your ability to separate. I personally love guys who can block and show some toughness on the edge. I think it matters. I think it bleeds into and saturates the entire offensive unit. All those things are for me, but there's not one thing that I'm like, God, Lee, that's really overlooked. Anything beyond catching the ball, probably blocking, if I had to be most honest, just because we struggled with it. I couldn't get it right. So, anecdotally, Michael, do you believe that stripes on helmets should be mandatory so on film we can all see where the quarterback's eyes are? I think it definitely helps. I never did it. Did I do it? No. In high school, when I was coaching high school football, and I don't anymore for the last year plus, but we had basically like the what the Ravens have. It's not really a stripe, but it's like two stripes, like speed stripes. That helped me coaching, I think, to make sure guys are looking in the right spots. And I definitely think it's easier on end zone film to be able to see it. And hopefully you make that comment because of all the times that I say, hey, let's look at the helmet stripe. But it's just a nice, easy hack. I don't know where I learned it, somewhere along the way. But boom, Alexander coming in hot. Appreciate it. What do you got? Washington is getting Eric Bieniemy. What are they actually getting with him from your knowledge? Oh, Alexander, what a loaded question, my guy. We'll see. I mean, I don't pretend to have any sort of like in-depth Eric Bieniemy knowledge. I will say just from a kind of, 30,000 foot macro view about what happened, quote unquote, to Eric Bieniemy and what he interviewed for like over half the league's head coaching positions, never got an opportunity. Guys in that role under Andy Reid had gotten opportunities before. I think you have to acknowledge at least some element of race playing a factor in that, in my opinion. That being said, I spent a very limited amount of time around Eric Bieniemy when he was a position coach in Minnesota. Not someone that I would classify as necessarily my favorite position coach that wasn't my position coach that I was ever around, if that makes sense. That was also a long ass time ago, and people get better, people change, people evolve. And just because I didn't necessarily vibe with his style or the way that he coached his guys doesn't mean that it wasn't right or wasn't doable or serviceable, whatever the hell that means. So we'll see. I don't know what it'll look like. I mean, to be honest with you, what it will look like is, who the hell's playing quarterback in Washington? Are they good enough to be serviceable for anybody, let alone for Washington for a first-time, quote-unquote, guy calling his own plays by himself in his own system? We'll see. I don't necessarily think it's a ripe recipe for immediate success, for whatever that's worth, but I'm excited to see. I think it's a smart play from his standpoint because he obviously wasn't going to get the head coaching role that he thought, and probably many people thought that he should get in that role that he was in. So I think it's a smart play to venture out on your own and see if there's a different path to be able to finally get to that head chair. Boom. Appreciate the support. Good question, Alexander. Questions of the day. Holy moly, coming in hot. Literally named questions of the day. I like that. Do you think McCarthy call-in plays will make a difference in Dallas? Yeah, it'll make a difference. I don't know if it'll be a good difference or not. You got to set a qualifier there. We'll see. I personally, and I think I've said this many times on this channel, I'm a big fan of Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy taught me what I consider NFL offense. I was my coordinator first 3 years in the league. That was a long ass time ago, man. Things change, things evolve. Will he be able to show that he has evolved and adapted and changed as much as the offenses have? I don't know. I'm sure that there are instances. In fact, I would say like Andy Reid is the example of a person having the capacity to do that. But I think what we look at from the last time Mike McCarthy was calling plays in Green Bay with what that offense looked like to what a lot of NFL quote unquote offense looks like, it looks pretty fucking different. And so can we bridge that, and can he be able to get the absolute best out of what that team needs? I don't have any great insight other than to say that, 20-ish years ago, I really liked the way that he went about it. I think he deserves the opportunity, if he's going to be the head coach, to have whoever he wants calling plays. So if it's him, good on you. Good luck. I'm certainly going to be fascinated to watch. It's going to be, all of a sudden, that division went from kind of, borderline LOL for a long time to all of a sudden got some great storylines in there with a lot of teams that seem to be surging in the right direction. Boom. That was pretty good. You guys are coming in hot today with these questions. I feel pretty good. Strong group in here. We're getting close to, 75 of our closest friends in here. Again, appreciate you guys coming in, hitting the like, sharing the content across your social platforms. It means a lot to me. It really does. So I appreciate it. As you're coming in, quick little revisit to some of the things I talked about earlier. The initial list for the 2023 draft quarterbacks will be going up on the Patreon community soon. That list will be in pencil. Again, it's kind of a bracket around that list. That list is not necessarily how I think they're going to be drafted, what teams they should be going to. I don't do any of that crap. I don't know enough about it to pretend to do all that. Mine is just this is the list in order that I would want these guys from what I've seen on film. So I'm excited to share it. Ooh, Jada5. Oh man, I butchered that name, so I apologize. If you were Kyle Shanahan, who would you want to roll the dice with, Lance or Purdy? I'd roll the dice with both, but Lance would be in there playing to start. Boom. Questions of the day. Oh, see, now you set the bar high, and then you come back with it. I notice. That's all I'm going to say. I notice. What are your favorite 5 quarterbacks to watch? Growing up, it would probably have been Young, Favre, and Gannon. That was kind of when I started really getting into it. The first one I really remember watching was Elway, but that was probably when I was like a little bit more kiddish. When I started getting into ball, it was definitely Steve Young and Rich Gannon. Mr. Rody Poo. Oh, C-Dub DT, enjoying the White Russian season? Not as much as you would think. I'm probably going to get into it a little bit here this week just because we're getting a storm through. I feel like White Russians are like cold weather drinks for some reason for me. And it's supposed to get a little chilly down here and maybe actually rain in San Diego this week. So I might jump back into it. That's a good reminder, C-Dub DT. Mr. Rody Poo. I mean, just for making me say that name, dog. What do you got? Thoughts on Michael Penix Jr.? Oh, that's a good reminder. I can't remember. I feel like I did his game versus Oregon. I definitely did a game of his at Indiana. I'm glad you reminded me of that. It must have been the Penn State game, if I remember correctly. No like surging thoughts other than the fact that to register in my brain that I need to go back and revisit. In fact, when I was going to do the list today, I hadn't even put him. I didn't physically write out a list, but in my mind, he was not going to be on the list. So I should probably put him on the list. That's a good call. I thought there was a lot to like. I thought, off the top of my head, I remember his playmaking ability, his ability to create, his ability. I think he got hurt. I think that there were some inconsistencies, and he had a little bit of a weird stroke to me. But again, I'd have to go back and revisit it if I had to be honest. Kenny Guerrero. Come on, dog. Do I play Madden? No. Oh. Something love. Hello from the UK. I always love a good global check-in. Appreciate you guys letting me know where you're coming in hot from, especially if it's not from the States. Thanks so much for helping me understand the game. I was a casual fan, but thanks to you, I have a much better appreciation of the game. My guy, Rain is love. I appreciate that. Maybe Rain Ski Love? Rain Ski Love? Either way, thank you for the kind comment. I appreciate it. It's fun when obviously it's fun when I enjoy what I'm doing, but it's fun when I'm enjoying what I'm doing and it resonates with people and they feel like they get a better appreciation for some element of the ball. Charlie Malberg. Oh man. How do you judge a college QB with a bad O-line? I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily say it would be much different. I think I don't necessarily look at, or try not to look at, like highlight type throws or things where, you know, you're throwing a jump ball and their guy makes a big play. I think it's more about projecting what the quarterback's ability or tape shows fits and looks like Sunday successful football. So, you know, if they have a poor O-line and they're getting hit all the time, I think it can show toughness. I think it can also show a lack of mobility, you know, if they can't move at all. I think it can also create some bad habits, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it plays a variable. I don't think it's a huge variable. Alexander. Oh, we're checking in from Sweden. Very cool. Puerto Rico. Appreciate it. We got some Aggies in the house. Very cool. I like it. What do we got here? Alexander Wilson, my man. Ba-boom. Y'all are coming in hot here with the super chat today. Being a good or great offensive play caller, from your perception, is that subjective or objective? Let me see if I even understand this. Being a good or great offensive play caller, from your perception, is that subjective or objective? I mean, I would say like almost anything, it's both. But from my perception, it would be subjective, right? I feel like, is that a trick question? I don't know if you're trying to say that you're a good play caller or I'm a good play caller, or just in general, good or great play calling. I think you can build consensus that you're a great play caller. And I think the way that you do that is by a number of different things. Consistency, showing adaptation, doing it over a number of years, scheming people open, being consistent, being innovative, all those types of things. But I can't think of very many things aren't both subjective and objective, if that makes sense. But on this channel, it's subjective to me. Oh man, Rowdy Poo, I see your question, bro, and that's more than a video. That's a couple people's job. I don't have a good answer for that. My man Mark coming in hot. Who knows what that signal is for though? What is that? Someone tell me. Pound? Probably not pound. Something. Where's Derek Carr going, and how much should your breakdown cost him in free agency? Oh man, I have no idea where he's going. Isn't the consensus with him is that he's going to wait to see what Aaron's going to do and then kind of slide into the number 2 spot? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care either. And in fact, if you were a franchise, and maybe I'm totally off my rocker, but I don't know if the franchise that gets him should be, are they doing cartwheels with that? I'm sure it certainly has the potential to be an upgrade for some teams. But do you all of a sudden surge into a contender role because of that change of quarterback? I can't think of a team that would. That's no, I've been wrong before many times on that. Oh man, you guys are coming in so hot with the super chats. I'm not even able to get to the other stuff. So I will promise you I will try my absolute best for that. Eric West, can you talk briefly about how to change the numbering system in Duo to accommodate the triple option? Plan to run Duo as a base, but want to mix up. Oh, Eric, I cannot. I don't even pretend to be qualified to tell you how to do it in a numbering system. In fact, I don't even know how to do that. So I apologize. I wish I could give you your money back, because that question I don't have the answer to. I've been around numbering systems that number for pass protection counting, but never for run counting, and how I very limited knowledge of how triple option teams number the front side to be able to block. I couldn't do it. The only way that I really know how to do Duo is to do Duo the way that I did it in the video I'm pretty sure is available on YouTube. I did a clinic at some point, and it comes straight out of my kind of like offensive framework class. So if that's the only, it's not that that's the only way to do it. That's how I did it, know it, and kind of like know the tricks of the trade. See, I wasn't wrong. The Euro. Appreciate that, Sam. Oh, did I say pound? I might have said pound. Never mind. I apologize. It was something like that. All right. Nick Pierce, if you were the Colts, who would you take at 4? Or like to see go through what fit-wise? Yeah, Nick, sorry, bro. I know you came in probably late to the chat, but I don't do the fit thing. I just don't care. I honestly have no idea and don't pretend to know. So I apologize. My guy Nate checking in. Appreciate it. Is it already the afternoon? You're right. It is the afternoon. Holy moly. Holy moly. All right. Yeah, happy afternoon, everyone. What do we got? Questions of the day coming in hot again. Man, questions of the day. You're on fire, dude. What would be the pros and cons of being an NFL head coach? How many great QBS do you think are in the league right now without naming names? I don't know what QBS stands for other than quarterback school. So I apologize. Questions of the day. What would be the pros and cons? The pros of being an NFL head coach are a lot. The money, the quote unquote power, decision-making power, the ability to lead a team, lead a group of people in a really fun environment that has an opportunity to kind of perform at a really high level on essentially, for half the year on a weekly basis on national TV, to kind of be a quote unquote spokesperson for a community, for a region, for potentially a state, and to just have a blast doing something that you love at a really high level, hopefully really well. The cons are that, there's also a lot of cons. Everybody knows you. When things don't go well, everybody will let you know. You're probably going to get fired. It's probably going to be uncomfortable for either you or your family, wherever you're living. It hardly ever ends well. You're going to move a lot. I'm sure that there are others. You're probably doing a lot of shit that you don't want to do, meaning probably not a lot of quote unquote football. It's really what I would imagine being a head coach at lower levels is like, whether it be high school, college, it's probably appears more glamorous than it is. You're usually putting out a bunch of fires that get to you. And then how many great quarterbacks right now? I mean, I can name the names, right? I would imagine it would be the same list as everybody's kind of top 5 list. I guess I said I could name the names, so I'm not going to name the names. How many great ones are there? Great ones? I mean, great's pretty subjective, but I would say most people would say Patrick Mahomes is great. I would say Burrow, Allen are on that teetering tier to like surge into that great, quote unquote, great category. I think Lamar Jackson has been there, previously, probably before he got hurt the last couple seasons. Prime Aaron Rodgers is certainly great. I'm sure I'm missing some guys as well. I think Hurts has had flashes of that, this recent season, but I would certainly want to see, a more consistent body of work. Who am I missing? I'm sure you guys will let me know who I'm missing. Herbert has shown flashes of greatness. Pretty good. All right, what else we got? Oh, man. All right, let's see if I can dive into some details here in the chat. I appreciate you guys coming in. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like. If you're interested in seeing the early draft to the quote-unquote quarterback rankings, hop over to the Quarterback School Patreon community. It will be coming out soonish, probably today or tomorrow. Maybe not today, because I'd have to film the video right after this and put it up. So today or tomorrow. What else? I think that's about it. All right, let's get back into some questions here. How long we been going? Oh, not too bad. We're on a hot streak. All right, Daniel. Are you going back and forth? Caleb Williams is amazing, but he is only 6'1". Is he the same size as Purdy, but no one talks about? I mean, I hear people talk about Caleb Williams and his size. Quarterback size in the NFL is always intriguing to me. It's not always intriguing to me, if I'm being honest with you. What is too small? Thoughts? I think that there certainly is a too small. I think we're going to get a great kind of test at what that is this year with Bryce Young. I personally don't think it matters. I think the game has evolved to help smaller quarterbacks, if that makes sense. It's gotten a little bit wider or stretched, both horizontally and vertically. Now, it still doesn't mean that you can see over a 6'8" offensive tackle, but I think the game is a little bit more flexible as opposed to maybe back in the day when you were under center, when you were doing things from the pocket, where now things are a little bit more quarterback move, quarterback run, quarterback create, a little bit more friendly for a smaller size guy. We'll see if that holds up. I can tell you anecdotally, for me, when I played and I was actually playing in the games, I felt light and small. Now, when I say small, I mean not necessarily short, but light. Like I was getting thrown around like a rag doll, where I was like, man, I wish I was 250 as opposed to 225. So is there a difference between 198 and 225 and 240? Yeah, I think that there is. I think you can also work on that element of a player's body and kind of composition. So to me, it's not a big deal. I honestly don't spend a whole lot of time around it. We'll see. I think this will kind of be a decent test. I think, it seems, I haven't run the numbers, but it seems like guys are getting a little smaller. And, I think of guys like Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, who else are guys that are not necessarily huge guys? Like, I don't know. Is Jalen Hurts that tall of a guy? I mean, he's obviously a thick, super strong dude. Deshaun Watson doesn't strike me as like the biggest cat in the world. I don't know. I think back in the day when, you basically had to be 6'4", 6'5", that was kind of the prototype, where now I think of it and I don't think that necessarily is true anymore. Maybe it's just my own scars that I'm dealing with. All right. See, so I was pretty close. Jalen Hurts 6'1". All right. What else we got here? Oh, man, we got Cal Bear in the house. Uh-oh. Well, we got Cal Bear. Doesn't the discussion about Lance and Purdy need to be one about style of offenses? Not to me. Lance is better fitted in an RPO Philly style offense, while Purdy is better in KS West Coast passing. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make that argument that they could be better fits in different systems. I think this is maybe not necessarily a common understood truth across football. So, and maybe it's just my own truth, but I think most of these systems are flexible enough to take advantage of players' skill sets and strengths. And I think you have to at least acknowledge the fact that Kyle Shanahan looked across the landscape of the league, saw where the position was, the quarterback position, and realized he needed a more athletic weapon at that position. And that's why they went up and got Trey Lance, in my opinion. I mean, everybody knows who else was available there. And so to me, that means that he thinks that is a difference maker. And I agree with him. I don't necessarily agree with who he took where, but I agree with the idea for sure. And so I don't think they're going to throw that away just because, the last guy in the draft had a great story and won a bunch of games. And no knock at all about what a cool accomplishment that was. But I don't think the original thought as far as the quarterback and the weapon that you have to be playing quarterback and how the league has evolved and shifted with what that looks like has changed. And so I still think it's Trey Lance. I don't know why. But people are fascinated with that. We'll see, man. It'll play itself out. That's the beautiful thing about it. A little off-season talk. What else we got here? Oh, man, you guys are all up in the 49ers. There's only so much I can do with that, if I'm being honest with you. Hawk, you think Bryce Young is 5'9", 170? I don't know. I hope he's not 5'9", 170. I honestly don't know what he is. I've been on the same field as he has been on, but I've never stood next to him and gone back to back. Alexander Wilson, from my previous question, I was basically asking, can you quantify a measure of a good play caller in football? I'm sure that there are people that think that they have some sort of system or algorithm that can do that. I personally can't. I can qualify it for you just by what I look like or what I when I watch play calling, how I determine what I think is a great or consistent play caller, to me, I'm looking for a few different things. I think the most obvious one is what I usually call wide ass open plays or concepts, where someone is not around someone for like a significant vicinity. So that can be a massive run hole. That can be a wide open, eligible wide receiver, tight end, back. And I'm looking for that consistently. I like it even better in crucial down and distances, third down, short yardage, red zone, tight red zone. When you're creative like that, that to me is a sign of a good play caller. The other things that I like to look for are layered play calling, meaning that you're setting things up. And that doesn't necessarily have to even be in the same game, but that can be over the last month of a season. Have you set up plays to be able to take advantage of, things that you think the defense will be ready for? That's a great one. I also think an easy one to be able to see if you think someone's a great play caller is their use of play action and how do things look just like the run game. If it looks identical to the run game, I think that's really intentional and really a sign of someone who cares about the craft and is trying to kind of mesh both play calling, design, offensive architecture, and kind of in-game execution at a really high level. The other thing that is hard to measure unless you're in it, like literally in the system, speaking the language, I personally think that concise, precise language really, really matters. So I personally, this is just me anecdotally, I don't like heavy verbiage offenses. I think it's easier to do that, and it's certainly easier to do that in the league when you have a earpiece that you can just kind of vomit into the quarterback's ear and they can regurgitate into the huddle. But for me, especially at lower levels of ball, I like really precise things that mean a lot, simple, clean words that mean a lot of different things to a lot of different position groups. It's another sign of kind of a high-level offense for me. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that answers your question too. Appreciate the support. Boom. Tyler Herrick. Oh, baby. Thoughts on Jordan Love's development or sitting behind a QB versus not as an overall philosophy? My thought on Jordan Love's development is that from everything I've seen, he certainly looks like he's continued to improve. I think the video has been pretty good. I think I've done a decent job on the channel of showing those videos, if it makes sense. So if there are certain games that I haven't done that you want to see, reach out, let me know. Not in this chat, because I'll never look at this chat again. But if you hit me up on email or Twitter, I usually do a decent job of trying to go back and capture those. Would you rather sit? My overall philosophy on sitting versus playing, I would want to play for sure. I think that there are benefits to sitting. I don't think that they outweigh playing, though, if that makes sense. I personally think it's a little bit of a dated perspective to think our system's so complicated. We want to draft someone, let them sit and watch some crafty veteran teach them, and like pour wisdom into their ear. I just don't think that's how it operates. I've never been around a system where that operates like that. The old guy wants to play. I think it's fine to have tension in the room if you draft a younger guy, but it's not necessarily going to be like a kumbaya session every day, certainly. And so I think it's more important to play and to play as quickly and as often as you possibly can. Boom. What else we got here? We got we got over 100 of our closest friends in here. I appreciate everybody who's hit the like. It matters to me, so thank you for doing that. Oh, I forgot about this. Boom. So, yeah, it worked. So, again, the quarterback prospect lists will be coming out in pencil for the Quarterback School Patreon community soonish, if you're interested in seeing that. And please don't be the clown that shares it across different platforms. The list will be available soon-ish over at the Quarterback School Patreon community. Get over there, check it out, become a member. I appreciate the support. All right, look at that, it worked. But boom, sushi for breakfast. Bam, coming in hot. Sushi for breakfast sounds amazing. Do I want to tell this story? No, I won't tell the story. Had a sushi incident over the weekend. Not football related, so we'll leave it out. But sushi for breakfast, I appreciate the support. Let's see what you got here. Any thoughts on why it seems like sports media isn't talking about Quinn Ewers being a possible high draft pick next year? Unlike Drake May and Caleb Williams, who are both highly lauded. I don't have any thoughts about the sports media and who they don't cover. I think Quinn Ewers' film when he came in and started playing last year looked really good. I think he got hurt. I think it wasn't quite as good after that initial kind of surge. I think, what game am I thinking of? Alabama. We'll see. I think he, from what I remember, had some amazing splash plays, some really great throws. I think it didn't look the same throughout the rest of the year. I would want to see that. If he comes in and plays like he did versus Alabama the entire year with some of that arm strength, the throws, the touch, the accuracy, he's going to be drafted high. I personally haven't watched that much Drake May. Like, I don't really have a hot take on it other than the fact that I have it queued up. I've got some video lined up to do post-draft for Drake May, so I'm excited to take a look at that. I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams. I think his game is really good and translates, but I don't necessarily think he's, a for sure one over Quinn Ewers or Drake May at this moment. And to be honest with you, I haven't thought about it that much, but I know a lot of people are really high on Caleb Williams, so we'll see. But I would imagine you're trying to infer, is there some sort of are they, I don't know. I think homeboy just cut his mullet. I think he's slowly starting to understand the perception that comes with playing the position. And when I'm talking about Quinn Ewers here. And so, I don't think a lot of that shit matters. I really don't. I think if the film is good enough, the film is good enough. Just like Caleb Williams painting his fingernails means zero to me. The hair means zero to me for Quinn Ewers. I just want to see him healthy. I want to see him playing more football. I want to see Texas winning, all those types of things. Appreciate the support, though. Boom. Oh, man. Mr. Nick. Bo Nix is another QB to keep an eye on. I hope I missed some of that conversation. I know he got better last year at Oregon, but I saw a lot of Bo Nix at Auburn. War Eagle. Oh, man. Wheelie. What about Kellen Moore plus Justin Herbert? How do you see that working out? I mean, I'm excited to see it. I think everybody is excited to see Justin Herbert in a different system. And that's no shade to the cats that were there before. I'm a big fan of Shane Day, who was quarterback coach there, is a buddy and friend. And so unfortunate that didn't work out there, but he wasn't necessarily calling the plays. So I'm excited to see Herbert in a different system, different potential choices, and being able to showcase different skills and more consistent skills, maybe driving the ball down the field. We'll see what it looks like. I honestly don't know. I think Kellen Moore has certainly shown that he's got the capacity to be creative. I think sometimes maybe it almost feels like it goes too far towards kind of weird, bizarre versus kind of a little bit more, what's the right word? I think the easiest thing to say is to say, almost tries too hard sometimes to scheme things up, as opposed to just putting your players in positions to be successful at a consistent basis, as opposed to being too cute or too Boise State-ish, if that makes sense. So, appreciate it. Good questions. My man, first name, last name, coming in hot. Y'all, the lives going good today. Enjoy it. Santana McLeod, Hendon Hooker thoughts. Yeah, I did a Hendon Hooker video last week. Go check it out. Let me know. Alexander Wilson, definitely the MVP of this stream. How tough is your former teammate Alex Smith, especially with him coming back from the horrendous leg injury? I mean, Alex he's a tough dude, no doubt about it. I'll be honest with you. I don't do great with injuries like that. And so I certainly didn't watch any of the whatever documentary, ESPN special. I certainly know the story and certainly appreciate it from a distance. I just personally don't do well with that sort of stuff. So I stay away from watching that stuff, but watching him be able to fight back and be able to not only come back and have like a normal life, but to come back and play again, craziness. I think people sleep on the fact that Alex Smith is and probably was a really, really good athlete. Like, I can't overstate in our off-season workouts, that dude used to win damn near everything that the team did, from run tests to explosiveness tests to that dude is a good freak athlete. All right. Marcus, what's good? Checking in from Brazil. Appreciate you. Boom. It is fun for me to see. I appreciate it when you all let me know where you're checking in from. Makes the channel reach that much more fun for me. Whoo. Sam, what QB are you taking in the 2023 draft if you were building your team? Sam, you seem like a guy who would be really well served with a membership to the Quarterback School Patreon community. I'm going to put out the list today-ish, maybe tomorrow. Josh Wigan, what do you think about QBs using the backing out technique for pass drops a la Dan Bouts? Josh, I'm a big fan of it. I did it in the league when I was in the digit system. I taught it to high school coach or quarterbacks when I coached for 3 years in San Diego down here. I like it. I think that it helps getting lined up to the left. I think it helps your vision to the left. I think it's smooth to me. It's basically just like a walk backwards. I think a lot of people think of, what is that clinic that's so available? Phil Longo talking about having his guys just walk backwards. So I really like it. I think that there are some negatives to it. Just the, in zone defense. If they're looking at you, they're certainly going to know you're probably working to the left. But I never thought it was an issue, specifically in the high school, for sure. Boom. Dave, what coach could better suited for Zach Wilson? I don't know, bro. I don't even know what that means. Sorry. I think I know what you're trying to ask, but I'm not touching that. Wheelie, watching from Mission Viejo. All right, check it in. I like it. Down at Fashion Valley. No, Mission Viejo is not Fashion Valley. I'm thinking Mission Valley. Mission Viejo. OC. I got you. Diablos. Oh, man. Justina, I'm not going there yet. I've thought about doing a video on this, and I'm not sure that I'm quite ready for it yet. Nick Larmore, is there a book behind you that you haven't read but want to? That's a good question. There are books behind me that I haven't read. I'm not sure. No, that's not true. I have a small stack, not a small stack, a stack of like 10-ish books that I want to read that are kind of like my next up books. You can't see them on camera. So yes, I was also thinking off season, and we're in the off season now, that I might do a like shelf a week, just so eventually I would have the whole library up somewhere. So when people ask me about the library or the backdrop, that I could just like send it to them. Boom. Momar Diop. I appreciate the support. I'm not going to revisit the Eric Bieniemy thing, though. You're going to have to suffer through the beginning of this live stream when it goes not live. Sorry. I did talk about it, and I'm not going to revisit it. But I appreciate you checking in and supporting the channel. What else we got here? Oh, man. Have you watched Full Swing on Netflix? What the hell is Full Swing? I don't know what that is on Netflix. What did I recently watch on Netflix that was good? I forget. Must not have been that good. Oh, Mitch Lanecap. How would you simplify verbiage on play calls at the high school level? Mitchy. Man, I wish I had that GIF up. I have that GIF up on my desktop, but not on the stream. Son of a... That's an excellent question. The way that I unpack that question is, like most planning things, you have to do it with the end in mind, meaning that when I started coaching high school football, I started from the standpoint of I want us to have the capacity to play as fast as possible. That doesn't mean that we always will play at a fast, crazy fast tempo, but I wanted everything to be as condensed and concise as possible. So starting from that mindset, we had a lot of things that, depending on what quote unquote bucket or term you say, hey, X go, Y late, F over, Z post, shit like that. Like, I don't like that stuff. You can do it, but it's just not how I think you can operate at a high level and teach a lot of people to play fast together. And so I did it starting from that standpoint. We also did a lot of, God, what is the book that I always refer to? Moonwalking with Einstein. It's a book. I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Moonwalking with Einstein, I think, is the book. It's about memorization and about how people who compete in memory competitions learn. And so I incorporated a lot of those skills and traits that they talk about in that book into how I taught offense. So we could learn a lot by having a lot of things tethered to certain objects or certain words, certain categories. So that's kind of how I did it. It's certainly available in the course, the offensive framework that I offer through all the courses. I don't know. Check it out if you're interested. I can't recommend the entire offensive framework course enough, but I get it. It's not free. All right. What else we got here? I'm getting a little tired. I'm not going to lie. How fast? Oh, we've been going for almost an hour. No wonder I'm getting tired. All right. Well, now I need to go soon to make the video and to do the video for tomorrow. Tomorrow's video is going to be Cam Ward. I call him Cam. I don't know if he goes by Cameron or Cam. His game versus Washington State versus Oregon. It was a fun one. I think fun is the right word. All right. Maybe one or two more questions here. What do we got? Running the zone red. Would AR-15 be a good fit for the Jets offense? Bro, running the zone red. Be careful with that AR-15, man. I made the mistake of saying AR-15 at some video or in a title. And, man, I got a bunch of gators coming at me sideways for him not wanting that to be his name or something. I don't know. Just a heads up. I think he'd be a good fit for damn near any offense. I think he's certainly got some work to do as far as polish for what a lot of guys who do it at a high level on Sunday look like in the consistency. But when you're talking about athletic freak, when you're talking about, explosiveness, playmaking ability, from a starting point, there's a lot to like, man. He could fit in any offense, in my opinion. And that kind of bleeds into what you were saying, Node. All right, let's do one more. Oh, man. Alexander Wilson, what is your favorite football or sports book? Well, I don't even want to say that. I think the easy answer is always that Bill Walsh book. I don't even know. I'll be honest. I definitely read a lot of football, quote unquote, sports books when I was younger, meaning like maybe even when I first got in the league, like up into my early 20s. But I have not read a whole lot of quote unquote like football books in a while. I read a lot of run game books when I was coaching high school, but I don't know if I necessarily thought one was better than the other. That's a good question for me I feel like I got to give it some thought. I don't want to cheat you on that. So maybe, how about this? I will put it out there on Twitter later today. I'll just take a photo and say, I'll snapshot your quote, and then I'll put it in on Twitter for you. So if you follow me at Twitter, you'll be able to see the answer. I'll give you maybe I'll give you like a stack of books that are my favorite ones. All right. I appreciate you all hanging tight. Nate Taylor, The West Coast Offense by Lavelle. No, appreciate it though. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you hitting the like button on the way out, sharing the content. It means a lot to me. Thanks as always. I will see you on the other side.